Speak too long, then kasota you share. Or say, leave it. That's wrong. We have to start. Particularly this generation. Now here you are not too old and too young, so you are the generation who got the, I think, deeper experience what happened in 20th century. Now we are supposed showing a path to coming generation, which are experience what we collected from previous century. Previous century, actually, I think there are many good things there. As you see, you mentioned using these marvelous technology, these things you see invented in that 20th century. But in 20th century, according to some historian, over 200 million human beings killed. And nuclear weapon actually used on Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So that century is really terrible. Century I usually call century of bloodshed. So nobody like that. Nobody want that. Repeat. So it is our responsibility, this generation's responsibility, to tell younger generation, if the previous sort of trend, just power, disregard moral ethics, the result, suffering. Immense suffering. So we have to tell our younger generation. Now think more the sort of also the other side, which more safeguard for peace, happy, tranquility, like that, isn't it? So it is our responsibility. Make an attempt. If fail, no regret. At the time of death, no regret. I done my best. Okay. And I think the next generation, who eventually going to face some problem, they also say, oh, our elder show us right way, but ourselves fail. Now we can't blame on them. Okay. Otherwise, they may say, oh, our elder not showing us the right path. They may, nowadays, we Tibetan, at least myself, say, I often blame our previous generations. They made mistake. So I think maybe the grandfather or grandmother, so your grandchildren, eventually they may criticize their parent, or they neglected, yes, neglected. So in any way, human generation, I think at least the next few thousand, I think we have to remain like this. Some complain, but within that, we have to make every effort be better world, isn't it? And also, I think we can't rely totally on God, or those people who believe God. So God created this, but at the same time, there are a lot of problems there that we have to solve this problem. If we put all the responsibility to God and just pray, that's unrealistic. We have to work.
Your Holiness, you speak a lot about inner peace and all of the positive values. Just for especially our students, how does one deal with hatred and terror and conflict that one may face individually, even though they want to exemplify the high values that you speak about, when there is someone perhaps pressing them to act in a way that's perhaps not of high value. What do you suggest they do?
그래서 강연이지.
그렇게 전에 수소도 내 사무실도 요네 가족도 강행이 돈에 지금 공부라야 다 존재가 얘들의 준비가 돼야 내 생각이 돼 말아야 답시를 답은 가려놨어.
Of course, that's difficult. But for me, from my experience, it's the holistic look. Now, that makes differences. Even the event, if you look more wider way, there could be some positive things also you can see. Then also you see they're facing the tragedy. Also is from the wider perspective, there are not just you, there are many people. So when we just think oneself and not looking more holistic or more wider way, then you see mind really almost become like prison, right? And thinking just one sort of problem, one event, and actually self-centered sort of egoistic sort of perspective. Then think just oneself. Then whole your attitude becomes smaller, narrow. Then small problem also appears something very big, unbearable. Same tragedy, same problem. If you look from wider perspective, then not much sort of serious. Even you see the quite serious sort of problem for yourself. But okay, there, if you look from wider perspective. So I think maybe Kasota is useful to look problem itself from Kasota, from various angles. And then also is think humanity as a whole. There are millions of people, then billions of people who are facing the same problem, but comparatively, now for example in America, comparatively much better, fortunate. There are democracy, there are system, judiciary, because of the system, and everything is much better than some remote area. I think some of these African sort of state and some Asian state, some remote area, no, because of the basic facilities. So remember these, then you feel fortunate. So sometimes I usually I express American student go different part of the world, then you will realize how fortunate your own country, your own area. And then still the gap, another sort of there, I think global, because of that, global one issue is the gap rich and poor. So global level also is this big gap, rich and poor. And within the nation, America, some time back I was told the number of the billionaire increasing, but poorer people still living there. One time in Washington, I expressed the most richest country's capital, but what called suburbs is Washington. There are many poor people. There are many poor people.